It's, I don't know if it's legit or not, I gotta tell you. Look this up, like I said, be very, very careful. I'd like to call the September 26, 2016 Village Board meeting. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Trustee Blatzer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Roll call, please.
This evening, we will be starting with Trustee Chaldikis.
Present.
Miklos.
Here.
Snagowski.
Here.
Stapleton.
Here.
Virgilio. Here. Blatzer.
here.
Next on the agenda is the consent agenda, which consists of the approval of minutes for the September 12th, 2016 Village Board meeting, the September 19th, 2016 Committee of the Whole, approval of disbursements, an appointment of Paul Childakis as President Pro Temp, and an ordinance amending Lamont Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04 liquor licenses, and rescinding Class A3 liquor license, a resolution approving a legal service agreement with Tressler LLP, and appointment of Tressler LLP as special counsel. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second by Trustee Blatzer, second by Trustee Snagowski. Any questions? With none, roll call.
Okay. Chaldikis.
Yes.
Miklos.
Yes.
Snagowski.
Yes.
Stapleton.
Yes.
Virgilio.
Yes.
Blatzer.
Yes.
Motion approves. And you can tell by the speakers that we spent the taxpayers' money well, and I'm sure you all can hear me because I'm hearing it bouncing off the walls right now, so. Excellent, so everybody can hear us. And following along the transparency in government, the best part about it is we got it done for under $1,000 thanks to Village Administrator Schaefer. So we got to look at that. Way to go, George. First on the mayor's report, I'd like to do the OAN Century Network member recognition. Mr. Ballard, do you want to come to the podium and start? Give a little background.
Thank you, Mayor, and the board. Every year we do this, and it's a recognition of the Century members that go out, and if I get an odor or complaint, I can call them at any time of the night and find out what they're smelling in their neighborhood. This year has been exceptionally well. I have an 82% follow-up rate on the complaints, so it's been kind of light too, so. So I'd like to hand out some of these recognitions. Rob Raspani, Mark LaChapelle,
Hey, look at that. You got your name right this year, Mark. Way to go.
I've been practicing. Tom Thomas, Brian Ranke, Milton Nichols, Chris Albrecht. Oh. Chris is not here, okay. Rose Yates. And last but not least, Reverend Burkmark.
I just wanted to make a quick comment. There's been a marvelous marriage between community, private industry, and certainly village and township government in order to produce that marvelous instrument we have over, that watches over our community very carefully. And we're very, very pleased to acknowledge the fact that all of these things can happen when we all work together in one voice. So special thanks to the village for their support as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Burgmark.
Answer the Greg O'Shaughnessy is our OEM specialist out of Springfield, consultant.
I wanted to make one correction tonight. Tom was being a little bit too modest. His rate is actually 92%, not 89%. So it's the second year in a row that the OAN has been above 90%. You know, every year you give me the opportunity to talk about the OAN and what it does, but I wanted to just spend a few seconds sharing with you some comments that came from two of the public administration staff at the University of Illinois. These two staff together have 90 years of reviewing government programs, and primarily they look at federal and state programs, but I asked them to look at this program since it's a municipal program, and I wanted to share with you just a few of the comments that they said about the OAN. They said some initiatives are not exactly what they appear to be. Results can be difficult to quantify, progress is even more difficult to measure, and when it comes to the concept of public involvement, oftentimes government just pays lip service because they don't know how to involve the public. The OAN, however, provides a startling and refreshing contrast to this. The OAN has delivered remarkable results verified by multiple parties, including the Illinois EPA. The OAN has made genuine progress to help improve air quality, and we've seen that not just in the Lamont area, but throughout this area of Will and Cook and DuPage counties. And finally, they noted that the OAN shows a true collaboration between residents. I'm going to insert my comment here. We can see that by all the Century members who are here tonight, and between business and local government. They said this is an admirable initiative that works because of the support from local government and the dedication of people like Tom and others who are involved with it. There's nothing else I can say. I think they captured it exactly. So we appreciate everybody's support in making the OAN work. I'll hand it back to you, Tom. Oh, wait a minute, Tom. Wait a minute. We almost forgot. There's one more certificate for Tom.
I'd like to call Ken Adams up from Romeoville so he can hand out his.
Thank you, Tom. Once again, I'd like to thank you, Your Honor, and trustees, letting us crash your board meeting. I know your time is precious. It's nice that we're able to recognize our members at your board meeting. We appreciate it. We do a little bit different. I bring greetings from the other side of the river. We do things a little bit different. We have members of our on-duty fire companies also respond. They're very active in it. And then we also have a very active auxiliary group, and they're our trained members as well. So I'd like to call up Brenda Kastner. Iris Heck. Chris Arlano. And Terry Ahern. I think I'll bring hers over to her because she'll hit me with her cane if I make her walk up here. So, thank you once again.
Thank you, Chief.
And we got one more. Lockport Pete, would you like to come up and?
Lockport Pete, that's kind of fun. That might stick. That's pretty good.
I just want to say one thing, and the question was just asked of me, do people know what OAN is? OAN is Odor Alert Network. It's up on our webpage, and you can go to the webpage, and if you got an odor complaint, call the number, and I'll be responding.
Any hour of the day.
So the OAN has been around for 11 years now, and it started here in Lamont. You were the pioneers. We thank you for that. And it's also recently expanded to Lockport, and so that's who we're honoring right now. Our first recipient is Grant Spooner. I haven't seen her. Sandy Berchensky? No? All right, so far no shows. They're really there, though. They do. Dave Dornan? Is Dave here? No. Maybe I'm lying. John Schultz. I don't see John either.
You're in the right place.
They're prepping for the debate, I guess, tonight. And I know Phil Rittenhouse isn't here, but Phil, just so you all know, Phil leads our OAN network. He's the Lockport Emergency Management Agency Director, so he does a great job. Dennis Vervik? No? Edward Stoba? Somebody pretend to be Ed, please. All right, nobody from Lockport is here, but I am. And I'll accept these on their behalf. Thank you, Your Honor.
So, Chief, this is just classic because of Lockport. I mean, I can't, this is just, you just tease it up for me right here. I mean, the reason they had to get one is because obviously we were getting the smells from Romeoville, from Lockport, when we were coming into Lamont. So we were always traveling to Lockport to get, find out what it was. So that's why we had have them have a, get their own century groups down there. No, this is a true, Greg, like you were saying, this is a true example of how industry can work with residents and be, the districts be close to one another and up and down the canal that work. It's something, we need chemical plants, we need industrial plants, we have to have them. They've been here for a very long time. And it's something that I'm glad to see that what's come out of Lamont, that Tom's been able to put together along with everybody else. And, it's worked, even when you say 92%, the amount of complaints on a yearly basis continues to drop as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, it's something that the industrial community has recognized. They understand when there's something that's been called upon, and they've made changes that's affected all of our lives. So, both thank you to this group here and the industrial community for being good partners and good corporate citizens to allow us to go forward. So, if you guys hang out for just a second, we get through the mayor's report here, and then before we start the clerk's report, I'll let you. For those that don't want to stay for this exciting other meeting, I'm sure you want to probably head out to the debate or, go see what Mayor Noak's doing or Mayor Straight's doing or something like that tonight. So, so with that, we have a quick one. It's the appointment of a Planning and Zoning Commission member. I will let you know that Mr. Schaefer, Mr. Stein, and myself met with Sean Cunningham today. Great individual, very excited, very enthused about coming on board, so we told him that we would be approving him tonight. So with that, I need a motion to approve Sean Cunningham to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Made by Trustee Stapleton, second by Trustee Miklos. Is that voice vote fine? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. So next, I have something before we get to the clerk's report. Some of you may have seen today through the different news entities and places that we put out information, but for everybody else, I'm going to keep it consistent and doing it tonight's meeting. Dear friends of Lamont, it is with mixed emotions I share with you that I'm ending my 14 years as a Lamont elected official and that I will not be running for a third term as your mayor. A few times in life, opportunity comes along a person cannot refuse, and that has recently happened to me. I've been offered an opportunity to lead an organization at the apex of my professional the apex of my professional industry, and it is quite frankly the opportunity of a lifetime. I have accepted the position of Executive Vice President of MHI, the nation's largest material handling, logistics, and supply chain association. With my new opportunity, my family and I will be relocating to Charlotte, North Carolina in the very near future. Nothing is more important to me than my family, and while I have begun my responsibilities with MHI, I will be finishing my term as mayor, spending the majority of my time in Lamont through the end of this school year. There are many things I will miss about Lamont, but most of all, I will miss the residents that make up our great community. We've had some engaging times together since I was first elected as trustee in 2002, and I was never more proud to be a resident when I was first elected to mayor in 2008. I'm especially proud of the fact Lamont is in much stronger financial position than it was when I was first elected. Henry Ford once said, "If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself." The entire Lamont Village Board has worked extremely well together and is on the path for continued and great success. I want to truly thank everybody. I don't want this to go on for long. I just wanted everybody to know at the same time. It has been an exceptional pleasure of mine to be sitting in this position, first as trustee and then as mayor. I can truly say that I have sat in this position, in both positions of this board, with some of the most exceptional people I've ever had the opportunity to sit with and serve with. And that does not go without saying the amazing people that we have as staff here in the Village of Lamont that we have working for us every day of our lives. So with that, I want to say thank you to everybody. Again, I will be, I will still be in town through this school year and through the election, and then look forward to turning the reins over to someone who has the same passion as all of us that we have sitting on this board. So, and the only person at this time I truly want to thank is my wife Sherry, who's sitting in the audience tonight, that wanted to be part of this, and thank her for allowing me for the last 14 years to be leading the city that she's grown up with, was born here and raised here and calls home, and hope I never let her down as far as in the position that I had. I love you, and I thank you so much for everything you've done for me. So, thank you. And yes, that's why they're writing, because they heard I was coming to Charlotte. So that's the real reason that they're writing in Charlotte. So with that, we are going to move to the clerk's report. Actually, I'm sorry. OEN residents, if you want to, I know you guys have a nice little gathering that you got going for dinner. If you guys want to step out at this time, you are more than welcome to. So. Really, Lockport Pete, you're leaving? You're not going to hang around? Or?
There was an agenda item for public comment. Can I make one?
Oh, I'm sorry. There is audience participation. There is one. I'm sorry. You're right.
As a former alderman in Lockport, I pay attention to Robert's rules, and clearly Lamont doesn't care to.
And nor will they the next 7 months.
So I just wanted to take a moment before we leave with OAN to thank the mayor that you are an incredible leader coming from your sister city in Lockport. It's been a life-changing event in my life to come to know you and Sherry, and you have made Lamont a better place by leading it. And so I just wanted to say very briefly that our communities are losing a great leader and a great friend, and I'll miss you.
Thank you, my friend. So with that, make that correction. Is there anything else under audience participation? And before we go on to the clerks, and if there's items that they would like to speak about when we get to them, they're more than welcome to speak. So with that, the clerk's report.
Thank you. The first ordinance we have passed this evening would be O-28-16, and this is providing for a feasibility study and report with respect to the designation of a certain area as a tax increment financing redevelopment project area. That's Main Street and Archer Avenue.
I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Made by trustee Snagowski, seconded by trustee Blatzer. Chris?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. On September 12th, the village board approved the ordinance removing parcels from the gateway tip. These were some of the parcels that were removed. These parcels are the ones that the village had acquired. And so now the next step is to create a new TIF for these parcels and to set the clock for a new TIF to be created. This is the first step. The next step will be on October 24th when we request an ordinance to set a public hearing date. This process will continue with public hearings and other ordinances that have to go along the way per the TIF statute. This will continue till January, where we will go ahead and approve then the TIF if all the steps are successful.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Any questions? Roll call.
Chaldikis?
Yes.
Miklos?
Yes.
Snagowski?
Yes.
Stapleton?
Yes.
Virgilio?
Yes.
Blatzer?
Yes.
Motion approves.
The next item this evening would be ordinance O-29-16, and this is amending the budget for the fiscal year 16-17 for the Village of Lamont.
I need a motion to approve.
So
Made by
Second.
trustee Snigowski, second by trustee Blatzer. Chris?
Okay, well, this budget amendment is the first budget amendment, and basically, this is just a budget amendment that appropriates the contracts that were awarded in fiscal year 2016, and that we would have expenditures in this fiscal year. We're budgeting for those expenditures. So it's really just some housekeeping rules and just to clean up some of with the budget amendment on this.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Any other questions? Roll call?
Childekis?
Yes.
Miklos?
Yes.
Snigowski?
Yes.
Stapleton?
Yes.
Virgilio?
Yes.
Blatzer?
Yes.
Motion approves.
That's all I have this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Village Attorney's report.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Village Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple quick updates on construction projects. Director Pakula is out under the weather today, but I thought I'd give a couple updates. Illinois Street has officially begun the construction. The concrete contractor was out there today about noon and started to, handle some of the ADA ramp issues. K5 will be short to follow. That project will be every bit of a good month on completion. We're hopeful by November 1st that project will be completed in our downtown. Was not a significant delay today, but in the coming days, weeks, there will be significant delays. So please just be patient with the project. It'll be outstanding when it's completed, and we will get information out to the public. We have our own road project that is coming close to completion. The binder course is down on Holmes, Fremont out here by Village Hall. We are hopeful those will be done so that Illinois Street can then work without any other projects around them. So both of those will be done by the end of October, we're hoping. But I just want to give that brief update, and we'll be check our website and also our new Stay Informed website portal for information on those projects.
Thank you, George. I didn't see anything for board reports. Anybody have anything? I know Chief has one under staff reports.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very briefly, October 1st starts the hunting season in Illinois. And residents may start hearing folks hunting in the unincorporated areas that border our town. And frequently we get the calls then of shots fired. So hunting is permitted in all the unincorporated areas in Will and Cook County with the permission of the landowner. It is not permitted inside the village limits. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, under new business, the Certificate of Economic Hardship Appeal for St. Patrick's Church. I need a motion to open the appeal.
So moved.
Made by trustee Blatzer, second by trustee Miklos. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, at this time, it'd be appropriate for a motion to appoint the village attorney as the hearing officer for procedural matters only.
All right, I need a motion to make Jeff Stein the hearing officer for this, for the economic hardship
So
appeal.
moved.
Made by
Second.
trustee Childekis, second by trustee Blatzer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Stein.
So we are here, obviously, for the appeal of an economic hardship, and that's the only thing we are here to have an appeal on today. There is a significant record that was created before the Historic Preservation Committee. That is part of this packet and part of this agenda. Any new materials will be provided tonight too, if the applicant or the appellee has one, or if we at the village have a copy of something we want to add. But it is assumed that everybody has read those materials, and that is essentially what we are here to decide whether or not that should be overturned. It is the applicant, St. Pat's Church, that has filed this appeal, which means that the Historic Preservation Committee, as we know from our materials, has denied it. Essentially, there was a public hearing pursuant to statute and by our ordinance held, I believe it began in January of this year and concluded in April when a ruling was made. The ruling has been submitted to this board, and at the request of St. Pat's, and a timely request was made. We have continued that request from time to time based upon the request of St. Pat's. And that's where we are today. I believe there is a preliminary matter, though, that Mr. Moore would like to raise. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the board.
Actually, I
Since-
apologize. We do have a court reporter, so make sure you please state your full name for the
sorry.
correct record.
My name is Thomas Moore, M-O-O-R-E. And since the last board meeting, when you did graciously allow us a continuance, there's been great progress made with Mr. Sal Alfano, who has proposed a contract. There is a written draft of the contract. And really, the parish has worked diligently and made great progress internally. As you may know, there was some internal discussion because the parish had invested a lot of time and effort in part of this property and bought it and cleared a previous building. And there was reluctance to let that go. And because parking is a very important issue, if you have read the packet, you've seen pictures of Sundays when literally every space is taken. And that is a very important issue to the parish. But internally, they've been talking it out and really come to a consensus to support the contract to transfer the property to Mr. Alfano. And we're really down to one issue, and that is parking and how many parking spaces Mr. Alfano's project would have and how many he would be able to either give or share with the parish. And I confirmed with Heather Valor that Mr. Alfano was in last week to talk to the village and float a couple of different options that way. And it's my understanding that he is to come back to the parish with one of those proposals. And we believe that that will finally resolve the and allow for a signed contract. The signed contract will have 30 days due diligence for Mr. Alfano to clear his plan, then all of his plan with the village, at least to not get final permits, but at least to get some assurance on his own part that that his plan will work and that the village will eventually approve it. So the first thing we did after last month's meeting is, as per the request of this board, we did secure the property and did spend a significant amount of money to stop the bleeding, to cover the property and make sure that it can't continue to have water damage. And so some of the urgency of forcing this to issue hopefully has been abated. And our request tonight is for one final continuance that would include the 30 days, so that to the November meeting, at which time we're hopeful we'll have a plan that works for everybody, that works for the parish and works for the village. And remembering that the parish is the village. These are your constituents. These are part of the village. And rather than forcing this to issue and forcing us to a contested issue and an issue that then would go to a court, and I've been authorized to say, we would withdraw our appeal if we can get a signed contract. And we're very close to a signed contract, and we respectfully, we've shown our good faith by spending the money and securing the building and moving in the direction the village hopes we can go, and that will be mutually successful for everybody. So we'd respectfully request your cooperation and continue this one final time when we hope we can withdraw it.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
So at the request of Mr. Moore, a motion to continue to whatever day would be appropriate, a second for discussion only. An aye vote would be to continue it to whatever day we decide. A nay vote or no vote would be to proceed with the hearing today. But
Okay.
as far as procedure is concerned, a motion would be appropriate.
Okay. So I need a motion to approve a continuance to the October, right? Mr.
November.
November? So you want 2 months? Yes, please. November, I apologize, let me get that.
28th would be the
last.
second meeting, and last meeting in November is
28th.
28th.
Okay, so November 28th. Again, I need a motion to approve a continuance to the village board meeting Monday, November 28th.
So moved.
Made by trustee Blatzer.
Second.
Second by trustee Stapleton.
Discussion.
Is there any discussion anybody wants to have at this point? I will say that I think we were extremely fair last time in granting the continuance for the amount of time that we granted last time. And, we will go from there as we see fit. So, yes, trustee Blatzer.
I do have a question. What is the purpose of the continuance besides just solidifying the contract with the purchaser? Is that what you're looking for?
Well, yes, exactly. If we go forward and have this contract, which, as I say, we're down to one issue, and the one issue involves the village, and I think it's resolvable. There's a couple of alternative ways it's resolvable. Then this can all end up a positive, happy, cooperative story where we ended up where the village wanted us to, and where we have come around to believe is in our best interest as well. If you force a hearing, then you're forcing us into appealing further. I mean, in the 35 days, we'll run our time for administrative appeal, and we'd have to go to a court 35 days from tonight. And it's all silly and stupid and backwards. These are your people, and they've done as you've asked, and they're asking for one final accommodation to get where you want them to go. And I agree with the mayor that it was generous last time, but it got us to the point where this is actually going to work. And the parish showed its good faith by securing the property, taking away some of the urgency that some of the staff felt. And so we're just asking for one final accommodation so that in a cooperative manner, as we've been, and it's really I think the reasonable thing to do.
Thank you again, Mr. Warden. You got it?
Question for staff.
Yes.
Right, for the staff then, is there any issue with the building if we would approve a continuance to November 30th? Is there an issue that you foresee happening? I know the petitioner said that the building is secured. What would your opinion be?
Yes. Trustee Blatzer, the building was secured, the roof.
Mr. Mark, please state your name for the record, please.
Mark LaChapelle, Building Commissioner. It was secured and approved. It still is just a temporary fix, though. So whether it would last through the winter, we'd have to do further inspections, but it was approved for now.
So you expect until November 30th it would be sufficient?
I believe so.
Mr. Moore, what has held up the negotiations?
Well, nothing on our side. We have.
But you just said you're waiting for the village to make a decision. I
No.
don't think anything's come to us.
Well, on the contrary, it's a three-way. There's three parties involved. There's Mr. Salofano, and no, we're not waiting for the village did meet. I confirmed with staff that the village did meet with Mr. Alfano last week, and he's now coming back to us with some alternative proposals. And it's the last issue, and we believe it'll be resolved one one way or the other. And then we have a written contract. There's 30 days for him in the contract, a due diligence period, for him to, again, not get final permits, but sit down with the village on his whole plan and show them what he's doing. And once the 30 days, we have a solid contract, and everyone's bound in the direction that you want us to go and that we have come around to wanting to go.
Jeff, Mr. Moore made a comment earlier about a 35-day process if it was denied today.
Yes.
Accurate?
That is correct. If, well, it would actually be 35 days from 10 days from now, when we file a written response, which he did not know that would happen, but yes.
Okay.
And that's true of either side. So once this is concluded here, either party that is aggrieved, meaning the losing party, may file an appeal within 35 days for administrative review before the circuit court. And it has to be within 35 days.
It has to be, okay.
Yeah, by statute. So essentially 45 days or so.
Okay. Any other questions? With none, roll call.
Remember, an aye vote is to continue it to November 28th.
A no vote
A
is
no
to
vote
not.
is to continue with the hearing today.
And we would start and then we do the other part. So, roll call?
Chaldakis?
No.
Pardon me?
No.
Miklos?
No.
Snagowski?
No.
Stapleton?
No.
Virgilio?
No.
And Blatzer?
Yes.
That was a yes.
Yes.
All right. Motion fails.
Okay, so now we will proceed with the appeal. At this point, as I stated earlier, this is not to redo an entire hearing. We have already done a hearing at the proper level. This is an appeal before you to determine whether or not the HPC essentially made the correct ruling and the ruling that we believe at the village level is appropriate. I don't know if there's any other preliminary matters, Mr. Moore, other than the request for continuance. We do have all the exhibits which are part. Is there a stipulation that those are the exhibits we're going to proceed with? Or if you have an objection to any, please, now's the time probably to state those objections. There's 17 listed in the packet.
You have a list of them?
I do. It's in the agenda packet, but do you have, Ms. Falone has it.
Mr. Stein, also at this time, there already is a motion on the floor, and we just continued from the last time this was heard. Is that correct? Or
The motion is to open the appeal.
So the motion to that is, so that's part of the
It's
court
open,
record
the
from
appeal's
before.
open. At the end of this process, there'll be a motion to approve or deny the
I thought we
appeal.
had that. Or do we, no, he's open?
No, we just opened the public,
Okay,
we just
okay,
opened
okay.
the hearing, not a public hearing, but opened
Okay.
this hearing.
Thank you.
And you're asking what, that I'm stipulating that these are the exhibits?
That's correct. Unless you have an objection to proceeding with any of those exhibits before this appeal, then we'll have to discuss those. But this is the same list, I believe, that was
No,
provided to you.
I
and-
understand.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, it does appear that these are the exhibits from the hearing.
Thank you. At this point, Mr. Moore, since it is your appeal, I believe it is appropriate for you to go ahead and proceed in any way you see fit. As I stated earlier, we will accept new evidence, new arguments, just to keep the hearing open and make sure that the village board is fully apprised of the matter. But I do believe that a reiteration of everything is probably going to be a little bit of a little extra time that we don't need. But I leave that to you, Mr. Moore. It's your call.
Yeah. So I think the record is clear that this is an extreme economic hardship on the parish. The parish is not equipped to to spend the $1 million to preserve this building. There is, in this country, a division of church and state, and while it's laudable and wonderful and grand that the Village of Lamont wants to preserve certain buildings that are consistent with its history, and I myself live in a historic district. It's a wonderful cause, but when it takes away from maintaining the house of worship, when it takes away from the priorities of a ministry, and when it forces a parish to choose between those things, then it is a extraordinary and unwarranted imposition into a faith community, and it's an unconstitutional, and it violates the Illinois and federal acts that try to prevent government from interfering and basically inadvertently, indirectly making faith decisions. It takes away from the pastor the right to prioritize what he needs to best serve his flock, and so it does create a tremendous economic hardship on the parish, and I think the record, we put all of that in the record. It is in the record, and we'd respectfully request that you overturn the commission's finding.
At this point, it'd be appropriate to hear from Ms. Vallone from the village.
So the application was filed for a certificate of economic hardship in November of 2015. The application was placed on the January 14th, 2016 Historic Preservation Commission meeting. The public hearing was opened at that time. The hearing was conducted on multiple dates until April 14th, when the hearing was closed and the certificate of economic hardship was denied by the Historic Preservation Commission. Staff's recommendation remains unchanged. Staff recommends the denial of appeal, as there is an active offer to purchase the building, indicating that there is value in the building and thus the property can yield an economic return. There was a previous offer from an interesting party to purchase the building. The applicant has not indicated how they will afford to demolish the building if an appeal was granted, or a time frame for removal.
Okay.
Mr. Moore, is there anything else you wish to add at this point? All right, so that, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mayor.
No, I say, so then I need to call for a motion to uphold the HPC's ruling, or how do I
Let's
state?
hold it. Let's make sure there's no questions from the village board.
I'm sorry, is there any more questions from the village board?
Either party,
Apologize.
to either party? Before you, again, the bulk of the evidence, just so the record is clear, is a part of this agenda packet. It's 17 separate documents, hundreds of pages of documents, including the transcripts of two separate, I guess, two different types of hearings that were held. One hearing went on for 4 separate meetings, which, again, is presumed that everybody here has read. At this point, it was just a very limited argument. This board can take into account that and everything else that was in those packets to make its ruling. Essentially now, it would be appropriate, if there's no other questions or comments, be a motion to approve the appeal. And after that approval, we'll have a separate motion to how we'll formalize and document the ruling. So at this point, though, I believe the first motion should be a motion to approve the appeal, and a aye vote would be to overturn the HPC and essentially allow the certificate. A nay vote would be to uphold the appeal, uphold the ruling from the HPC and not grant the economic certificate.
Okay. Any motion to approve the appeal from St. Patrick's Church?
So moved.
Made by trustee Blatzer.
Second.
Second by trustee Miklos. Any other questions or comments from the board? With none, roll call.
Chaldekis?
No.
Miklos?
No.
Snagowski?
No.
Stapleton?
No.
Virgilio?
No.
Blatzer?
No.
Motion fails.
Motion fails, which means that the appeal was denied. Essentially, the certificate of economic hardship stands. As this is a hearing, we will, I do recommend now that we do a written ruling, which is required, and I believe that Mr. Moore would want a written ruling, and I think he's entitled to one. So I would ask there be a motion be made to direct me, village attorney, to draft a written ruling in line with the testimony and vote that was done here today, and to be authorized under the mayor's signature in no less than 14 days. It gives me 2 weeks, and with the transition, I think that's enough time.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you. I only about half are written down. Just like,
So moved will be appropriate.
thank you. Made by trustee Snagowski. Second by trustee Virgilio. Voice vote or roll call on that too.
Voice vote will be fine on this one.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Stein will draft the.
There'll be a written
written ruling.
opinion, which will be circulated to the mayor. It's approved under his signature. Once that's approved and in line with everything here today, a copy of everything will be provided to Mr. Moore. I think we could both agree that the clock does not start ticking until you receive that written opinion. Okay.
All right, this time I need a motion to close the appeal.
Second?
Made by trustee Miklos, or it's fine, Miklos, second by trustee Platzer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing is now closed. All right, did anybody else have anything else under new business? Anything under?
I have an item under unfinished.
Okay, trustee Snagowski.
Yes, at the Cow meeting, John Vanderbilt presented a proposal regarding a bicycle racing event over a weekend. He reached out to me today because we told him we'd talk about it at our meeting, which we did briefly. But I just want to make sure if there's something we need or some steps of direction we can give to John, that we take those. So I don't know where we stand. I'm not sure if we actually walk through that process. So I don't know what to tell him right now if he calls me. Should he talk to somebody here? What do you want? How
Yeah.
do you want to proceed, George?
If you can either have him give me a call or give me his contact information, I'll follow up. There'll be a series of meetings with police department, public works, but I would direct him to me.
I noticed, remember, and know that he wanted us to give him somewhat of a budget on costs that he could anticipate. We in turn also asked him to reconsider the layout so that he didn't tie up the whole town. I think Jeanette talked to him about that. So those are the two things I do remember, and if that's how it is, that's what I'll tell him. Do you have any kind of estimated time frame it would take us to put something together?
We're supposed to do it today. Remember, everything was supposed to be done by Monday.
You did have a busy Monday.
Didn't get everything done, but
2 weeks
I need
or
a little
something
bit,
like
yeah,
that,
2
or-
weeks. We need a little bit more information on the race. So if you, 2 weeks, once I get a little
I'll
information.
tell him to
from-
get in touch with you
from John.
within that 2 weeks, so we can work
Yes.
on it. Okay.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
2 weeks. Wow, unbelievable.
It went from 2 days to 2 weeks, that's good.
Yeah, I think everybody was on board for just getting some
I-
details. I think we were all 100%
I didn't
ready
want
for it,
to
so.
tell him one way or the other, though, until I confirmed with you guys.
All right,
Thank you.
with, anybody else, any of those items? With no executive session, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Made by trustee Blatzer, second by trustee Stapleton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion approves. Go have fun and watch the debate. Free to drink?